And now presenting Die Hard the Picture Book by Brian Fraker. Die Hard is easily the best movie of all time. From redefining the lone cop movie genre, showcasing the true superstar ability of one Bruce Willis, and blowing out Miracle on 34th Street to be the greatest Christmas movie of all time, this movie is amazing from start to finish. With that said, let's start our visual journey. Die Hard begins on Christmas Eve with a cop named John McClane. He flew from New York to Los Angeles in order to rekindle his loving marriage that is currently on the rocks with a pesky separation. Holly is surprised to see John, and after some small talk, while John is barefoot and cleaning himself up, they get into a fight. During this fight, we're taken down to the parking garage where we're introduced to Hans Gruber and his terrorist friends. They go through the building, killing the security guards and making it all the way up to the top floor where Holly's company, the Nakatomi Corporation, is having a Christmas party. Once they're up there, shots ring out and John, since he was in a private office, hears the gunshots and runs to another floor for safety. After some dialogue, Hans has a private meeting with the Nakatomi CEO. Hans wants the vault password in the basement so we can get $640 million in bearer bonds. CEO's like, nah, brah. And Hans goes, fine, and kills him, solidifying his upper hand. John sees this killing, makes noise, and gets spotted. A bad guy runs after him thinking, I'm gonna kill you. And John hides under a table, then thinks, no you're not, and shoots through it. He then gets a walkie-talkie where we meet big-bellied Sergeant Al Powell. Al goes to investigate the disturbance call John sent in on his walkie-talkie. He waddles into the lobby to talk with a security guard, or so he thinks. But in reality, it's just another terrorist. Whoa! The guard says nothing's up, and as Al leaves to mainline Liquid Little Debbie's, John dumps a terrorist corpse onto Al's car, causing Al to flip his shit and getting the FBI involved. Now it's a good old-fashioned standoff with only Al truly believing in John. Because the FBI are headed by big old dummy heads, they send an armored car to raid the building. Why they're dummies is that Hans knew this and he had guys with anti-tank rockets ready to fuck shit up. They fire a few shots and set it on fire, but before they could finish the job, John smells a damn good solution and blows their floor up by dropping C4 down an elevator like a boss. Oh, did I not mention that before? No? Oh well, this is in pen and I'm not starting over. Well, while we're at it, I also figured out the awesomest line ever in any non-porno ever. John's on the walkie-talkie with Hans, and Hans calls him a cowboy. In response, John mouths, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker! What a badass! Okay, back to the movie. So Hans wants to go check on the roof for his master escape. On his way up there, he runs into John. Oh, shit! Hans quickly said he was an escaped hostage, that rat bastard. John buys it and eventually gives him a gun for protection. No, John! As a result, Hans attempts to shoot him in the back. Boo! However, John, being the clever girl that he is, had the gun empty. Unfortunately, before John could anally probe Hans with hot lead, his cronies show up to spoil the fun. During the ensuing firefight, Hans tells his boys to shoot the glass because he saw John was barefoot. As a result, to evade certain doom, John had to run barefoot through broken glass to safety. So here's John bleeding out of his feet with only himself to rely on, going against a group of trained terrorists that want him dead. Yep, it's official. His ass was truly on the line. During this time of dodging the bad guys, John figures out Hans is going to take the hostages to the roof and blow them up, faking his group's death. Up, right? So John Boy goes to stop that, but ends up fighting this guy Carl, who's like Thor's brother or something. They're trading blows when John wins by hanging that by his neck like a real loser. Upon killing Carl von Needle, John goes up to the roof to save the hostages and his wife. Or so he thinks. Turns out Hans saw a news report featuring his wife and knows Holly's married to John, and he takes her as a special hostage. Boo! So the hostages don't leave the roof, and John goes, "Fine, dumbasses," and fires his gun in the air. They flee, but in the process, the FBI helicopter fires back, thinking he's a terrorist. Weak sauce, bro. To get away from the gunshots and inevitable explosion, he has one option. Tie a fire hose to his waist and jump off the roof. I tell you, it takes real balls to do what John did. Big ones. So he leaps off the roof, dangles there, pushes off the window with his bloody feet, shoots the glass to break it, and swigs in just before the base of the fire hose comes unhinged and falls down towards the street. Hooray! Johnny's free! But wait, he's still tied to it. The base starts pulling him out of the window while John fights to get untethered. Just before he is dragged to his death, John frees himself. That scene was incredibly titillating, to say the least. So John knows he has to find Holly to save her. He eventually does find her with Hans and another crony. Hans demands John drop his machine gun, and he does. Why, John? It appears that the cowboy has run out of luck. Just as Hans quotes John's iconic, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother line while pointing his gun at John, John starts laughing. It's funny shit because John takes the gun with 2 bullets onto his back. And he yells for Holly to duck. John then rips the gun off himself, shoots Hans in the shoulder, and owns the crony right in the head, that dumb shit. Hans staggers backwards and grabs Holly as he tumbles out of an open window. John grabs Holly and Hans only has a hold of her wrist/watch. And right before Hans could shoot both of them, all of this is in slow motion and shit too, John unclasps her watch, sending Hans falling to his death like a big idiot. After that, John and Holly are downstairs having made up. I mean, he saved your life, woman. The least you could do is reconcile or or something. When they meet Al, everyone's full of sunshine and farts until Carl leaps to life. He wasn't fully dead. Ah! Carl grabs a machine gun, aims it at John, and Al saves the day by blasting his ass away. Greatest Christmas movie ever. So there you have it. Die Hard the picture book. It's a damn thing of beauty. Multiple lessons can be learned here. 1. Always wear shoes. 2. German terrorists love smoking. 3. Never have a Christmas party on the roof of a building. But the number one thing you should take away from this movie: John McClane kills heads dead. The end.